The echoes of recent events resonated through the halls of global power as a new piece was added to the chessboard of international geopolitics. Indonesia, the fourth most populous nation on the planet and an economic powerhouse of Southeast Asia, crossed the threshold of an organization that, over time, has sought to transform the structures that define world order. BRICS, originally a group of 5 emerging powers, welcomed its newest member, expanding its reach and aspirations. The decision, announced from Brazil, marked the beginning of a period filled with expectations and questions. The bloc, made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, had already begun an expansion process with the inclusion of Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia and the United Arab Emirates. Now, with the arrival of Indonesia, it was consolidating itself as a diverse and robust group, an emerging counterweight to the traditional powers grouped in the G7. Indonesia's entry was not a casual decision. For months, debates and negotiations took place behind the scenes, while Jakarta projected its image as a nation determined to play a leading role on the international stage. Indonesia's geography, an archipelago of more than 17,000 islands, and its strategic position as a bridge between Asia and Oceania not only underscore its regional importance, but also its potential as a key player in global trade and energy routes. The timing of this decision could not be more critical. The world, shaken by economic crises, armed conflicts and a pandemic that reshaped the priorities of governments, watched cautiously. Indonesia's inclusion in BRICS was interpreted as a political and economic statement. The Global South, until recently marginalized from major global decisions, sought to reclaim its voice and reshape international structures. Jakarta, for its part, did not hide its intentions. The Indonesian Ministry of Foreign Affairs emphasized that this membership was a crucial step towards a fairer and more representative world order. By joining BRICS, the country aspired to strengthen South-South cooperation, a principle that has guided its foreign policy for decades. Beyond words, Indonesia sought a platform to advocate for the reform of global institutions, such as the United Nations and the International Monetary Fund, considered by many to be outdated instruments biased towards Western powers. However, behind this union also hid a set of challenges. The diversity of BRICS member countries, far from being a simple characteristic, represented an intrinsic complexity. Economies with different levels of development, political systems ranging from democracies to authoritarian regimes, and national priorities that often conflict were factors that could test the group's cohesion. In this new context, the question was not only what Indonesia could do for BRICS, but also what BRICS could do for Indonesia. On the economic front, the country had much to gain: access to new markets, greater investment opportunities, and the possibility of diversifying its trade relations at a time when tensions between the United States and China threatened to fragment the global economy. But there was also an inherent risk. By joining a bloc that has sometimes been perceived as opposed to Western powers, Indonesia had to carefully balance its interests in order not to alienate key partners, such as the United States and the European Union. The announcement also had a profound echo within BRICS. With the inclusion of Indonesia, the bloc reaffirmed its ability to attract emerging powers, consolidating itself as a global player with its own weight. But it also highlighted the need to evolve. The structure of the group, which until now had largely operated as a forum for dialogue, had to adapt to a new reality where expectations about its role and relevance were higher than ever. In the corridors of diplomatic meetings, BRICS leaders faced difficult decisions. How to maintain the cohesion of such a diverse group, how to balance the individual demands of its members with the collective goals, how to avoid the perception that the bloc was simply an anti-Western coalition. Indonesia, with its pragmatic approach and its independent foreign policy, had the potential to act as a mediator within the group. With well-established relations with both China and the United States, and a tradition of leading regional initiatives in Southeast Asia, the country could play a crucial role in building bridges and building consensus. But it also faced the challenge of balancing its own domestic needs with international expectations. On the streets of Jakarta, the news was met with a mixture of pride and skepticism. For many Indonesians, BRICS membership represented an opportunity to raise the country's international profile and generate tangible benefits in terms of jobs, investment and development. But there were also concerns. Would this be a real opportunity to address internal inequalities and improve the quality of life of citizens, or simply a symbolic move that would benefit the political and economic elites? Indonesia's entry into BRICS was also watched with interest by other emerging countries. For many, the inclusion of the Asian archipelago was proof that the bloc was willing to expand its reach and accommodate new voices. But it also raised questions about the criteria and processes for admission, as well as about BRICS's ability to manage a constantly expanding membership. In this scenario of uncertainty and possibilities, BRICS and its newest member were preparing to face the future. The meetings, the negotiations, and the decisions that would be made in the coming months would be crucial in defining the group's course and its role in a world that, more than ever, needs new solutions to old problems. Indonesia, with its cultural richness, its economic dynamism, and its determination, was ready to leave its mark on the history of BRICS and on the global landscape. But the road to that destination would be full of challenges, dilemmas and opportunities that would test its strength and vision. As the BRICS nations continue to rise, the balance of global power is shifting. The dominance of the US dollar, long considered the world's primary reserve currency, is being challenged. BRICS, with its diverse and rapidly growing economies, is exploring alternatives to the dollar. Trade agreements in local currencies, a potential common BRICS currency, and increased economic cooperation are all part of this strategy to reduce reliance on the dollar. The implications of this shift are profound. For decades, the dollar has been a symbol of economic stability and power. But the growing influence of BRICS could herald the dawn of a new era in global finance, where multiple currencies share the stage. This transformation is not without its hurdles. Political tensions, economic disparities, and logistical challenges must be navigated. Yet, the determination of the BRICS nations to assert their economic sovereignty remains unwavering. As we look to the future, one thing is clear. The world is on the cusp of significant change. The rise of BRICS and the potential decline of the dollar's dominance could redefine the global economic landscape, creating a more multipolar world where power and influence are more evenly distributed. And so the story of BRICS continues, with new chapters yet to be written and a global audience watching closely as history unfolds. The leading BRICS nations are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These countries represent a significant portion of the global economy and have an increasing influence on global politics. With the inclusion of Indonesia, BRICS is further strengthened, enhancing its ability to sway economic and political decisions on the world stage. The cooperation among these nations could redefine the balance of power globally, promoting a multipolar order and challenging the hegemony of traditional economies. As BRICS expands and evolves, its impact on the future landscape of global governance and economic policy continues to grow, signaling a shift towards more diversified and inclusive global leadership.